Kaufman is Alive YouTube channel. I look at comic books new and old. Today I'm looking at a new comic book, Absolute Superman #1 by DC Comics. This is a $4.99 comic book. It's written by Jason Aaron. Rafa Sandoval is the interior artist, and I got his main cover here. Ulysses Ariel is the colorist on this book as well. I like this cover. We get Superman in his new costume here, this updated look on Superman. He's been begging for kind of a relaunch, a new look for a long, long time. And Superman has been updated as far as his look goes a few different times. Most notably back in the 90s when they tried to first give him a different costume that was all blue and electrified, where he was just made of electricity and energy. And then they tried to give him a mullet. They've had all sorts of different versions of Superman. They've given him a couple different costumes. They've tried to update the look, and it's pretty hard to update the classic look of Superman. We've pretty much still got the classic symbol, the red cape, the blue costume. Not a whole lot of changes here. Just kind of the updated hairstyle, which does kind of give me memories of the mulleted Superman. But this doesn't look like a mullet exactly, but it's just like a modern haircut that will probably look outdated in a few years. But nonetheless, at this point, I think it looks cool. We get a different Superman logo as well, kind of an updated Superman logo. It's okay. I like that he's in this field of like wheat, like he's in a Kansas field. So we'll get into the story here. We start years ago, 9 million light years from Earth, on Krypton. Really nice looking splash page of the giant cities of Krypton. But it looks like it's in trouble. There's giant volcanoes erupting. It looks hot, dusty. So we learn that there's giant sprawling cities here like Kandor, where there's the Science League, which they're the highest form of society. And we quickly learn in this book that there are multiple classes in Krypton, and it's an important part to the way they live their lives. And the lower class, they all wear the S symbol. So that stands for the workers. And then the Science League, they wear the sun symbols. So each class has their own symbol. We meet Lara L, the mother of Kal-El. She's an engineer. She's trying to help this man, and we start learning a lot about Krypton. We learn that the farmers actually have to pay the government for rain, among other things. There's lots of world building in here. It's really fun to read, very science fiction-esque. I love that there's this like science fiction slant to part of this comic book. So here's where we learn all the class systems, and we learn what the symbol means to Superman, who's actually narrating all of this, although we haven't learned that yet as the reader, although you can kind of figure it out pretty easily. But he says, it's a sign of the poor and unskilled, the S. People like my parents wore it with pride. We were the children of the sun. We were the people of steel. So we learn that Kal-El's father, Jor-El, he's a miner. And he's very in touch with Krypton, and he understands that there's something wrong with the entire planet and it's dying. He's trying to keep these miners from going any further into the mine here. But we get one of the managers coming down. He points out the symbol on his chest. He's got his own like manager symbol. I think it's even an M for like manager, which is kind of funny. And he's trying to force them to continue, but then it starts to rumble. And they all have to run. Jor-El commands them to run. and everything just starts coming down on all the miners. Some of them get drenched in all this acid from the earth, all this like green liquid magma or whatever it is. It says all of Krypton is doomed. I like the miner outfits. They're pretty cool looking with the giant S symbols on them. So we keep the narration going here, and now we're on Earth in Brazil, and we're learning about this character, Jao. I think that's how you pronounce it. And he's a miner. And we see these peacekeepers here, the peacemakers. They work for this company called Lazarus Corps. And they're forcing these miners down here into the mines, even though it's unsafe and there's asbestos everywhere. And somehow somebody already mined everything and even cut up all the diamond carats. And the workers are saying they need to keep this quiet from the peacemakers. I like that they're called peacemakers, and they even have the peacemaker outfits and the helmets. So then we kind of flash back to the previous night here, where this worker Jao meets Kal-El. And so we meet Superman for the first time. And he says there's rumors about this boy in this town. He's a wild kid. And he's saying that he's already seen the wonders of your world. And this guy's like, my world? And he sees, I've seen a lot of places like this, industries that run on suffering. How do you know which is the truth? And Jao says, you know when you have what is worth fighting for. That is the truth. And Superman says, and what if you have nothing? And then he says he has to go. So I feel like this story, it's a pretty straightforward story. And it's pretty obvious they're trying to tell a story about class systems and how they destroy societies, and how the society that is in turn leads to the entire planet getting destroyed, which is what we see happening on Krypton. I feel like the way they're telling the story here, with telling it a bit out of order, how we started on Krypton and now we've gone to Earth, and then we flash back to day, and now we're going back up to where we are now. I like the way they're telling that story out of order, because otherwise I think it would be a very straightforward story. So this is a much more interesting way of them to tell the story. So for that, it makes this comic book a much more interesting read. So the peacemakers come and they say that Lazarus means life, but for you it ought to mean, and they're about to kill this Jao because they've realized that there's no one who could have cut those diamonds that quick. So something's going on. They must be working for somebody else. And we see Kal-El, he's like sleeping down here, trying to just hide from everybody, stay out of the way. And we see this like AI come on here to tell him that the peacemakers are approaching. We see the solar charge is suspended, so he's charging his solar energy here. He's got a big giant solar panel on the top of this little hut here. And the peacemakers are going to... Oh, hey, kitty. And the peacemakers are going to try and kill all these miners. But Superman jumps up out of his sleep to save the day. He's going to punch these peacemakers with his giant fist punch here. They don't know what's going on. Then we see the big giant splash page of Superman making his appearance. And he says, I've gotten tired of running. And he starts talking to this AI who's like in his suit. So, you know, they're not adding too much new stuff to Superman, it seems like, but they are adding this like AI component, which isn't anything new. We've seen that in Iron Man and Spider-Man, Venom. So to me, that's nothing new here. But at least Superman's got someone to talk to, because it seems like he's got no one at this point. So, of course, they're trying to open fire on Superman. It really has no effect. He takes them all out. And he explains to all these people all he's trying to do was help. And Jao realizes that, he says, you're the boy who spoke in whispers. He says, and Superman says, if Lazarus won't pay you, you should take the diamonds to someone who will. but please just get everyone out of here before, and then he gets zapped by this lightning. And we've got these all these drones behind him here. So we've got a Peacekeeper Phenomena field team who's coming down who works for this Lazarus Corporation, and they're going to try and take out Superman. We see this one agent here, and she's talking about how it looks like his suit is changing, and he's talking to the suit. And then the suit starts to warn Kal-El that he shouldn't do what he's about to do because he can't control it. But he uses his laser eye blasts on them, takes them all out. But he's had enough. He tells Soul, which is the name of his AI, to shut him down. And Soul explains that he's trying to guard the last living vestige of the House of El from Krypton. So the suit itself is trying to protect Kal-El, basically from killing himself while trying to protect these people. And he's trying to tell Kal-El it's not worth it to protect all these people. He needs to just get off this planet, get out of here. And the AI continues, you must never forget the lesson of Krypton. Some worlds simply cannot be saved, not from themselves. Then we see the Lazarus peacekeeping team come down here with the tanks. They try and take out Superman here. Superman says, all right, he's going to leave because this was a bad idea. And right as he's about to leave, he gets handcuffed by Agent Lane. And she says, move and I fry your face, Superman. So we get Lois Lane naming Superman here, which is pretty cool. We get the title page here. Part 1, Down in the Dirt, is the name of this issue. So now we're in the Nevada desert at this like stronghold base, like an Area 51 type base, military structure. And we see our big bad villain here. I'm assuming this is Brainiac. And he says, a scrumptious new toy, wonder where you came from. And I love, he's got all these little planets here on the side of the page. They're all just like screaming. This one on the side is saying, kill us, please, kill us. So then we just get this one page of Central Kansas where we see the old Kent farm. Got the mailbox here so we know it's the Kent farm. And we see the sign, Property of Lazarus Corp. Then we head back to Krypton. Years ago, it says the Redlands. Really love this drawing here. Very science fiction-esque, again, when we go to the Krypton part of the story. So Lara sees Jor-El and realizes that he's been burned in this mine. He wants his son because he's telling Lara that they're all going to die here, staying on this planet. He's apologizing to his son for everything that's happened. And then we see the planet start to come apart here in the last panel. So we don't even get the entire destruction of Krypton here in this first book. I almost wonder if they're going to continue any more of what happens here on Krypton in issue number 2, or if this is all we're going to get from Krypton. I'm assuming we got to find out how Kal-El got sent to Earth, but I wonder if they're going to let us know starting in issue 2 or 3 or in the next few issues. But I do like that we're getting more Krypton, at least I hope, and we didn't get the full story of Krypton here, because one of my favorite parts of this book is living in this world of Krypton that Jason Aaron has written. It's really cool. So, like I said, this was a cool story. I like the way they told the story with the time jumps. I feel like if they kind of went straight forward, it wouldn't have been as interesting of a story. It's pretty straightforward, but we get to learn our new Superman, who he is. He's lost all of his privilege. He doesn't know who he is, really, and he doesn't really have anything to fight for except to protect these people who he sees a lot of commonality in because they were miners and his father was a miner. So I really like the story here, and I'm definitely going to be picking up issue 2 to see where it's going. So thanks again for watching. There's been a lot of Absolute Superman reviews, so if you've gotten this far, I really appreciate you watching the video. Please think about subscribing to my channel. I do have daily comic book reviews. I've got over 100 reviews on my channel. That's about it. I'll see you guys on the next one.